Hi, Stampers. It's Nancy from stampandshout.com. Welcome to Fun Fold Friday. This is a new series I'm starting. So every Friday, I'm going to show you a Fun Fold card. So make sure you're a subscriber and click that notification bell. That way, every time I do a new video, you will be notified. And look at this gorgeous paper. This is the paper that I'm going to use for today's card. I just wanted to show it to you. It's called Favored Flowers, and it's got these gorgeous deep blackberry bliss colors and the dark greens, and it's just gorgeous. And it's free in the celebration catalog. So today's products, I'm using this free paper, and I'm also going to use the sentiments from Thanks a Bunch. This is another free item in the celebration catalog, and celebration is going on now through February 28th. It's a once a year thing that Stampin' Up does, and it's when you buy something for $50, you get to pick something out of the celebration catalog. So again, this stuff is free, and I'm going to show you a beautiful Fun Fold card today. So let's get started. So I call this a center drapery fold card, and I'm going to show you how to make it on white cardstock. Then I'm going to bring in the supplies, and we're going to make a card out of that beautiful paper that I just showed you. So this is a little template that I use, and this piece of paper is 11 by 2.5. Then I tweaked this a little bit so it would fit on the card the way I wanted it to fit. There's lots of different variations of a drapery fold card. So this one I call the center fold drapery card. So first thing we're going to do is score. So I have my 11 by 2.5 inch piece of paper. And again, I'm showing you on white because I think it's going to show up better in the video. So I am going to take the thick end of my little scoring tool, and I am going to score it at 1.5, 2, 3, 3.5, 4.5, 5, 6, 6.5, 7.5, 8, 9, and 9.5. And I mentioned using the thicker side of your tool because when you're doing this with designer series paper, you don't want to push too hard and tear it. And that little one is a little bit more rough on your paper, so we're going to use the thick edge. So again, that's the measurements. And if you're looking at this and you want to take a screenshot, the little dotted images are score lines, and the solid images are cut lines. And this is a 1.5 inch mark at each end. So let's keep going. So we have our scoring done. Now I'm going to make a little mark at 1.25, which is the center of this end. And the same thing at the other end, 1.25. And then what I want to do is I want to make a mark at the 5 inch and the 6 inch. And if this is designer series paper that you were using, you would want to make sure that the pattern is going, the top would be this side right here. So I'm going to make a mark here at the 5 inch and the 6 inch score lines. When you're doing this in person, you're going to be able to see these marks are the two center score lines. So there's a right there and right there. That's going to be the center of this drapery fold. So I made a mark there and a mark there. Now we're going to cut. So I'm going to bring this in, and I'm going to cut from that mark to that mark. So I'm going to do it this way. I'm going to line up on my cutter that mark to that mark, which is 1.25, just like that. So I mark that one and give it a cut. Now I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. So I've got the tick mark there and a 1.25 up here. Okay, so when you get done, that's what your piece of paper is going to look like. Now all we need to do is fold it. And I'm going to start on this end by making a mountain fold. So it looks like a mountain, like that. And then you're just going to fan it each way I'm going to flip this over though, because I like to have the straight edge at the top to make sure that I'm folding it nice and easy. Basically, you're just going to flip flop and fan fold it all the way to the center. Just like that. I'm going to bring in my little bone folder though and give that an extra crease. Then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. I'm going to start with a mountain fold and a valley fold and just fan it. I'm just fanning it back and forth. Just like that. And so when you get done, crease this. If you want to crease it with your bone folder, when you get done, that's what you're going to end up with. So again, I wanted to show you on the white because it's going to show up a lot better. But now let's bring in that pretty, pretty paper. You're going to love this card. It's so, so pretty. So again, I went ahead and I did my cutting and scoring, and I ended up with my center drapery fold piece like that. Then I also have a card base, Blackberry Bliss, that's 8.5 by 5.5, and it's scored at 4 1/4. Then for the inside, I have a matte piece in Fresh Freesia, that's 5 1/4 by 4, and 5 by 3 3/4 for the white. On the front, I have a piece of Fresh Freesia, that's 5 1/4 by 4. Then I have my Drapery Fold Designer Series paper. I have a piece of white that is 5 by 1 1/2, and I ran that through the cane weave embossing folder. And a tip when you're using this embossing folder is you want to make sure that you put your paper in straight. And there's a little line right there. Just make sure your paper is in there straight, because when you bring it out, you don't want it to be crooked. It just does, it shows up a lot on your card. And if you put it in there crooked, it's not going to look very pretty. So here's another piece of that Designer Series paper. It's a strip that's 1/2 inch by 5. And then I have, this was one of the pieces that I cut off, and I just saved it because I'm going to put that on the inside of my card. Then I have a little scrap that's 1/2 inch by about 2 1/4, and I'm going to stamp the sentiment on there. Actually, I have that all done. I'm going to use the sentiment, "There's no one quite like you," and I just banner edged it right there, just a little cut. If you don't know how to do that, let me show you that really quick. So there's your little strip that you stamped on. I'm going to make a cut right in the center, and then from the corner, I'm going to go to that cut. And that's a real quick and easy way to banner the edge for your sentiment. So again, I do have that done. Then I have a little tiny piece of the Blackberry Bliss. That's about 1/4 inch by 2 1/2. And we can alter that when we're ready to put that on our card. So now we're going to put this together. First thing I like to do is to take my drapery fold and flip it over. And I close it all up after I've folded it, and I like to put a little bit of tape on here to keep it closed. Just like that. That's my starting point. Okay, but we do have a lot of pieces over here that are open that you don't want open when they're on your card. So I like to use glue. This is pretty heavy when it's all folded. So I think the glue holds it together nicely. So I'm putting glue on the back piece. And then since I am gluing this, it's going to have to set for a second to take hold. So let me just hold it there in place while it sets. This paper is so, so pretty. I think that's good. So it is holding. Like I said, because of the video, I'm hurrying up a little bit more. But if you let it sit, obviously it's going to stick better. So I want to attach this little strip first, and I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on here and attach it to the back of our pretty drapery fold. So I'm just going to put a very thin line of glue right there, and then just attach it. I'll make sure it's nice and straight. So if you recall, we started off with a piece of a strip that's 5 inches by 1/2 inch. When you get your card all done, this whole center part is going to be about 4 7/8, just like that. So I'm going to let that sit. And now I'm just going to layer it on here. But before I do, I have another little stamp, another little part. Before I do, I want to stamp some images on here. So I'm going to bring in Blackberry Bliss. And I'm going to bring in one of the little detailed stamps from the Thanks a Bunch set, which is this one right here. It's all these cute little dots. And I'm just going to ink the bottom corner of this Fresh Frieza. And that's just going to add a little bit more interest to our card. It's going to look something like that. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put this piece on. And like I said, when you get all done, it's going to be about 4 7/8 in width. So you're going to end up probably cutting off about 1/8 of an inch. And my glue is just not cooperating today. So I'm going to lay this up at the top with a little tiny border. And then I'm going to lay this piece, and since my glue is not cooperating, I'm going to use my snail. And I'm just going to center this right here. I'm having the bottom touch the bottom of that Fresh Frieza. I think that looks pretty cool like that. And that is the front of our card. So now I'm going to take this little strip and our sentiment. I'm going to lay that right on top like that. And then I'm going to pop it up with some dimensionals. And put that right in the center, like that. And let's put this on the front of our card and see what it looks like. Gorgeous, gorgeous colors. Then for the inside, I'm going to go ahead and attach our white piece to the matte piece. And then I'm going to take this strip and I'm just going to decide where I want it. So when you open it up, I think I'm going to put it at the bottom of this. Oops. I'm going to line it right at the bottom, and it fits perfectly. That's so pretty. Oh, what a gorgeous card. So we're going to put this on the inside. So I obviously left my stamping blank inside here because I'm not sure what I want to put. If I want to put thank you or happy birthday. But there's the front of our card. There's no one quite like you, with that beautiful paper center fold. And then the inside. Isn't that pretty? Fun. There you have it, your Fun Fold Friday card. I hope you enjoyed it. If you go to my blog, stampandshout.com, I will have all the information there. I'll have the sizes and all the supplies I used. And make sure you subscribe. Come back next Friday and we'll do another Fun Fold. And don't be shy. Stamp and Shout.